I'm just wanting to know whether or not Trump is a creep, which I think we already know that. I don't know that we necessarily need to talk to her to know that he's a creep. They want to make sure that they can raise an awareness and raise the voices and issues of their constituents over protecting, say, pedophiles.
What you're about to see is one of the most stunning examples of political gaslighting and hypocrisy that shouldn't come as a surprise from these deranged Democrats. Jasmine Crockett once seemed to be a rising star in the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Now it seems her party is distancing themselves from her. And recently, she just did a disastrous MSNBC interview. And in the span of just a few minutes, she managed to expose the entire playbook of the modern left. When the facts aren't on your side, resort to unhinged accusations. When you're caught in hypocrisy, deflect an attack. And when all else fails, you blame superstar President Donald Trump. Now, this wasn't just an interview, it was a complete meltdown that reveals everything you need to know about the state of the Democratic Party today. So I want you to go ahead and lock in because we're going to go over it. The first part of the interview centers around the Texas Democrats who fled the state to break quorum, effectively abandoning their jobs to stop a vote. Instead of addressing the dereliction of duty, Crockett immediately goes on the attack with an absolutely vile accusation. Watch this.
People need to understand that, number one, Democrats are fighting back. Number two, they also need to understand that the people that claim to be the party of law and order are nothing but lawless thugs. The fact that they are investing our taxpayer dollars and resources into hunting down duly elected officials instead of, say, going after pedophiles. The fact that they have a bigger issue with those that decide that they want to make sure that they can raise an awareness and raise the voices and issues of their constituents over protecting, say, pedophiles.
Now, I want to be perfectly clear here. What she just said is absolutely ridiculous. She equated officials issuing civil arrest warrants for the legislatures who abandoned their constitutional duty with protecting pedophiles. For her to say that is wild. So this isn't just a low blow. It's a disgusting and baseless smear tactic designed to create a moral panic. And there is absolutely zero evidence, none whatsoever, that the state of Texas or federal government is diverting resources from child predator task forces to find these runaway politicians. And to suggest that Republicans are making a choice between enforcing the law on legislatures and catching child abusers is not just a lie, it's a morally bankrupt argument from a person who claims to be on the side of morality. Now, this is the first sign of desperation. When you can't defend the act of running away from your job, you invent a crazy, fictitious story of your opponents. It's a strategy from the playbook of the radical activists and not serious legislatures. The MSNBC interview then pivots to the issue of redistricting or gerrymandering, and the host asks a very fair question. If Democrats like crybaby California Governor Gavin Newsom start redrawing their maps in a partisan way to counter Texas, won't that just set off a political arms race? And Crockett's response is a masterclass in deflection and hypocrisy.
No, I don't worry at all, because let me tell you something. When Republicans decide that they want to go to hell on something, they go for the jugular. Like, they don't hold back, right? So here's the reality. We understand that J.D. Vance is in Indiana right now trying to twist arms so that they can get 2 seats there. We understand that he has been putting pressure on Missouri to try to get 1 seat there. In fact, there are rumors that they already have the map for Missouri. We understand that Florida has already decided that they're going to move forward. So these people do not care about doing what is right by the people that elected them and put them into power. Because when I say that I'm fighting, it's not even a partisan fight that I'm engaging in. I'm engaging in a fight for democracy, a fight that allows people to be held accountable when it is that the people are not liking what you're doing.
So did you catch that? She was just asked about Democrats gerrymandering, and without missing a beat, she starts talking about what Republicans are doing in other states. She doesn't defend the practice on its merits. She just says, well, they do it too. So really, here is the context the liberal lapdog media won't give you is while they're crying over Republican gerrymandering as a threat to our democracy, we have to go ahead and look at the states that Democrats control. If you look at Illinois, the home state of another potential 2028 Democratic candidate, billionaire J.B. Pritzker, that the Democrats seem to love, the nonpartisan groups give Illinois' map an F for fairness. It's universally recognized as one of the most aggressively gerrymandered maps in the entire country, designed specifically to maximize Democratic power and disenfranchise Republican voters. The same thing happened in New York, where courts had to step in because the Democratic map was so blatantly unconstitutional. So when Jasmine Crockett says she's in a fight for democracy, what she really means is she's in a fight for Democratic power, and it's only a threat to democracy when the other side does it. When her party does it, it's just leveling the playing field or trying to get an edge. It's pure hypocrisy. So then the interview takes a turn and talks about Epstein's scandal, where Crockett again uses the opportunity not to pursue the truth, but to score cheap political points. And you guessed it, link everything back to Trump.
I'm just wanting to know whether or not Trump is a creep, which I think we already know that. I don't know that we necessarily need to talk to her to know that he's a creep. But I want to know, like, how is it that this was allowed to go on? I want to know how deep this goes. I want to know, like, if she's aware as to why, Epstein was let go with a slap on the wrist. Like, these are the things that I would want to dig into so that any and everybody that was involved in the cover up, because the crime is absolutely horrific. But the problem is that we've had so many people that have covered for these criminals, just like we have those that are sitting in the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, as well as the Supreme Court that are covering for the criminal in chief that's currently in the White House.
Now, this is the core of her argument, and it's the core of the modern left strategy. It's not about finding out who was on Epstein's list. It's not about justice for the victims. It's about using this horrific tragedy as a political weapon against one man only, and that is Donald Trump. But she claims she wants to know, in her words, how deep this goes. But in the same breath, she makes it clear that her mind is already made up about Trump's involvement without a shred of evidence, the files that she hasn't even seen. The interview reveals two fatal weaknesses in the progressive argument. First, their record is so poor on the economy, on the border, on law and order, that they have to resort to vile, baseless smears like accusing their opponents of protecting pedophiles. And second, their hypocrisy is so profound that they can condemn a practice like gerrymandering in one breath while their own party perfects it in the next. Now, this isn't a fight for democracy. It's a desperate scramble for power, and they're willing to say and do anything to try and obtain it. And this is the face of the new Democratic Party. It's just all outrage, no substance, all accusations, no accountability, and all hypocrisy all at the same time.